Welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music, at least the things we care about. I'm your host, Brian, and I'm joined with my other host,
Karen.
For today's episode, we're going to talk about our trip to Denver, and we made our trip out to Denver to see Korn. This isn't the first time we made our trip to Denver, or made a trip to Denver. We went a few years ago, I think in 2019?
2019. Yeah.
To go see Knotfest. Both of those shows, Knotfest and Korn, both played in Chicago or around Chicago. And we chose not to go to that particular show. It's a lot quicker for us to get to that one, theoretically. Well, I mean, obviously, theoretically, no. It's a lot quicker to get to. But as we've said in other shows, we have particular opinions about venues. And both of these were playing at, Tinley Park?
Tinley Park, yeah. At the Hollywood Amphitheater, I think it's called.
Oh, right. And we've seen shows there before. We saw Rammstein. What's the last one we saw in 2017?
Yeah.
So they came to open air,
And
the
then
first
next
open
one.
air, and the next year, they came back.
Then who was the first band we saw there?
The Lumineers.
Lumineers, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we saw two. I can't remember the other one.
And we just don't like that venue. We don't like going out to the burbs necessarily. There's nothing wrong with it. We have friends that live out there. We understand why people want to live out there and go out there. It makes sense. It's just not what we want to do. And especially we don't have a car, or we didn't have a car for a long time. So driving out to, or I guess getting out to Tinley Park out in the burbs was a bit of a challenge. And
Right.
I don't know if we'll talk about the Rammstein. That was a bit ago, a few years back.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, so that's hard for me to talk about.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring it up when we see Rammstein again. And if we talk about that, we'll talk about that. But we took the Metra out, the train, right?
Right. Both times that we went to Tinley Park before, we took the Metro.
Right. And the first time was for Lumineers. That was pretty easy. We left before the end of the concert. We just wanted to see them and then head back into town. Rammstein, we wanted to see all of it because it's Rammstein. You want to see the show.
Right.
And with Rammstein, we misread the train schedule and we missed the last train into the city.
Yeah.
So
I misread the train schedule. I'll take all credit for that one.
So we had to get an Uber and then drive back into the city, which was $120 or something.
Yeah, it was a lot of. It was a lot. I don't know how much it was. It was over $100. I know.
So that in and of itself is very frustrating. We do have a car now, so we could drive out there, and we are seeing a show later this year, Five Finger Death Punch out there.
We're gonna try it one more time.
Right. But we also just don't like the venue. Right? The pit is so small, and then you have this sort of amphitheater seating, and then you have the box seats up at top.
Yeah, and then there's a lawn.
Right.
It's open seating, or that's the general admission area is
Right.
the lawn.
Behind all that,
Yeah.
the lawn.
Yeah.
And when we saw Rammstein in particular, the loud bangs, the pyro, the pops, the singing would bounce off those boxes, those VIP boxes, which we were sitting there because we wanted to see the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it would bounce off that and echo. We just don't like that venue as a whole. That whole style of venue. There's quite a bit of those styles.
Yeah. We've really, now that we've seen a lot more concerts, we've really noticed that there's a lot that are in that style.
Yeah.
And I think they're all, I can't say all, but most of them are ran by Live Nation.
It does seem that way.
Or that's who sponsors the tickets and the tours and stuff.
It does seem like that, right? That they always go to the Live Nation venues. So you're kind of stuck seeing stuff like that. And all the ones here in the Midwest or around the Midwest seem to be that style of venue.
Right. Which is why we chose Denver for Korn this year and then previously for Slipknot. Because it is a Live Nation stadium, but it's a arena and not a amphitheater type seating.
Right. It's the Ball Arena now, but it used to be the Pepsi Center.
Correct. Yeah.
In Denver, where the basketball team, I think that's the Denver Nuggets, and then the Colorado Avalanche, their hockey team, play. Which is, I'm a hockey fan. A friend of mine's a huge Avs fan, so it's kind of cool to be down there and see the banners for the Avs hanging, which we'll talk about that too here in a little bit. But yeah, so that's why when Korn announced, we're like, hey, we kind of want to see them. We've seen them before, open air twice. I think that's the only two times we've seen them. The
Yes.
first year and the second year.
That's all. Yeah, that's all we've seen. Yeah.
And
So we've never seen them at a headlining show. They've always been. It's been at a festival.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the second year was they headlined.
But it's
so
a festival headlining. It's different.
It is, yeah, it's different. But I mean, they were the headliner
Right.
for the festival.
I guess their own tour.
Right.
How about if I say that instead
Perfect.
of headlining show?
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we've seen them twice at open air, both the first year, the second year, and they announced this tour. We wanted to go, check them out again. So we were looking at shows around the area that they were gonna be in. And like you said, everything around here was that sort of Tinley Park feel, and they even played Tinley Park, and like we don't want to see that. Same thing with Slipknot a couple of years ago, right? And we found the Denver arena, and we're like, oh, we've never been to Denver, want to go, let's go check that out. And we had such a great time in 2019 with Slipknot, we decided to go again for Korn. Like, why not do that again type thing.
Yeah. But then also, I knew that Denver had a Kuma's Corner.
Yes.
So I was like, hey, we could finish our bucket list of going to all the Kuma's so far in North America.
That's true, right?
So I mean, that's stupid to go there for lunch or, go all the way to Denver to get lunch, but.
I mean, it was on our list. Like it's
yeah.
kind of like a goal. Like it's our favorite restaurant. Let's go check out every one they have, type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So that might have been a little bit of a push as well.
Right. But getting to Denver was fun, right? Well, not fun, but it was interesting. Typically, we'll travel together, but this time, you had your vacation. You went back to Iowa for the state fair to see family.
Right.
And I stayed in Chicago, so we had to kind of like plan our trip to meet up that Sunday before the show in Denver.
Yeah, so I flew from Iowa and you flew from Chicago. But we got to the airport within a couple hours of each other, so it wasn't.
Yeah, you got in before I did. Were you there a long time?
No, like an hour well, it's a long story, but yeah, I was only off the plane for about an hour and a half before you landed
Okay.
because.
I guess, yeah, that's a long time for me to be just sitting in an airport by myself.
That's okay.
Like, that'd be boring.
I watched YouTube.
Fun times. But I mean, this also was sort of a working trip because we did fly in on Sunday. We both had to work a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't want to take vacation for it, so.
Right. And we had that luxury to work remote and then, explore the city at night type thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do we want to talk a little bit about like the whole working atmosphere or just kind of dive straight into the concert?
Let's go into the concert.
Okay.
Or let's talk about the music. We don't need to talk about.
Okay.
Our work's boring.
Well, I guess the work kind of plays some part because I think it was Monday morning, we went out because Korn was on Tuesday, I believe, right?
Yeah. Korn was Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. And so we had all Monday, Tuesday, and I think we flew back home on Wednesday. It was like a really quick trip just out there to see the show.
Yep.
And I had to work. I think you took a lot more time off this time around than I did. Usually it's reverse. I take a lot more time. You work a lot more. But I know we went out to get lunch, came back. I was sitting in the meeting, and then you're just like scrolling through the internet trying to find something to do Monday night for like entertainment.
So originally there was also a distillery that we like called Mile High Spirits, I believe.
Something like that.
And we really wanted to go back there because we went there in 2019. So we were like, oh, we want to go back, and they do like infused drinks or infused liquors. So we wanted to go back there, but so we were going to do that Monday night after you got off work or once you logged off. And I looked up online, and they were closed on Mondays. And I was like, oh, so now we need something to do. So since you were working, I just happened to get on the laptop and typed in things to do today in Denver. And this is literally, I'm not even kidding, the first thing that popped up was a 3 days grace concert. So I think I texted you because you were working or you were in a meeting, so I couldn't talk to you, and asked if we could go.
Yeah, and this would have been our third time seeing 3 Days Grace this year. We saw them Upheaval before, and then we saw Hogsfest.
With Godsmack at Hogsfest in Milwaukee, at Upheaval, and then so we had seen them this year twice already. So
and a few times before that too. So it's like we know what we're getting into. We know it's like we've seen them live. We don't. It's not like a bucket list thing, but yeah, it was like a
But we love live music.
exactly.
So I think that's most. I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god, I have to see 3 Days Grace while we're here. It's was more like we really, really, really enjoy live music. Well, hence why we talk about it all the time. But so for me, it was more let's just spend the night doing what we enjoy instead of sitting in a hotel watching TV or ordering takeout or something.
Or going out and just spending a lot of money at the bar and sitting there watching sports on the TV.
And that's probably what we would have ended up doing is walking around, finding something to eat, getting drinks, which is okay. It's fun.
But
sometimes,
that was
but
the original plan too, right?
It was.
Go to the distillery,
it was.
sit, have a bunch of drinks, and then get food, and then go back and crash.
It is, but I guess since the one place that we wanted to go wasn't there, granted we could have found somewhere else. I'm sure many people are going to comment on better places to go, but
music, like go see the live show.
Yeah, see, I think you thought that I looked for concerts when I mentioned it to you. But I didn't. I literally just typed in things to do in Denver today.
It's the number one thing that popped up.
And the number one thing. Obviously, probably from my search history, the algorithm was probably like, you like music, so let's do this.
Yeah, so this was the Explosion Tour, August 15th at the Mission Ballroom. Openers 0936, and then I don't think you knew this right away when you saw.
I didn't know.
When you saw it, but once you we bought the tickets, then you noticed oh yeah, Wage War is going to be there also.
Yeah, it was after we bought the tickets and I was looking at I think I was looking up where the ballroom was to try to figure out how to get there. And that's when I saw that it was Wage War, and instantly my mood changed from, oh, let's just go see a concert to, oh my God, I'm excited now.
And then you also found the tickets, you said you were texting me after you looked it up. And I think you texted me and said something like they're $140, $100
I think
plus.
So it wasn't $100. Well, it might have been after we did all of it, but I think it was going to be $95 or $96 a ticket.
Okay.
Originally. But I think that was through like a secondhand site.
Yeah, that seemed really high to me.
Yeah,
when
so
you said that.
It must have been like almost $100. Granted, it would probably almost be $200 then with service fees or whatever. And so I was like, oh, let's hold off or whatever and not do that.
Right. And then I went straight to the Mission Ballroom website and followed their links, and it brought me right to the $46.50 for the tickets, which is what we paid. And then another, $14.80 for fees, of course.
Yeah. So it was over $100 for the two of us, but
yeah.
Definitely not $100 per ticket like I saw.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it wasn't quite $100. It was probably like 96 or 98 or 95.
Yeah, and I have noticed that too. Like when I search tickets, sometimes when I go to Ticketmaster, it automatically takes me first, or at least it seems like it takes me first to their secondhand.
Yeah, like the
verified resale.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you go to the actual venue's website, sometimes they'll still have them listed, and you can get them a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I wish we could figure that out. Like why? I mean, maybe this company or Ticketmaster makes more money off of the resale than they do.
I mean, they're double dipping because they sold the original and then they get the fee on.
100% true. Yep. So they do want to sell those resale tickets.
Yeah, and I mean we've done other stuff like that where we get the balcony VIP section or maybe seated section at some venues, but then it's general admission seating that then you can also just walk down the floor. Yeah. So the floor was listed as sold out, but we bought up there at the seating section in the balcony, and we're able to walk down. So it's kind of you kind of have to know the venues that allow it and don't allow it, but that was very interesting. Yeah. And this particular venue was that way. Sort of, right? It had bleacher type seating all the way around the perimeter.
Yes. So the way I think of it is obviously Red Rocks is the main, the main venue, I guess, that everybody knows in Denver. So I think it was a play on that where they were trying to do not stadiums, like a amphitheater type seating, but that was also their back wall sort of thing. I don't even know how to explain that.
Right. It was a really cool venue, right? You walk into the door after you get your pat down and everything, and there's the merch back there. And straight ahead of you was like this giant, think of like a U-shaped bar,
Yeah.
right? Where you're at the bottom of the U, and the bar just like wrapped around this entire U. And you can get drinks there if you wanted. Huge bar, like, I don't know, massive. There
It
were
was, and there was no line. That was so crazy.
right, but I mean, even when it was busy, when I
Yeah.
would go back and get another drink, it was, you know, there were probably, I don't know how to, like, the bar where you have the tap handles come up and then it spits out and you have like 5 taps on one little section. You had like 10 of those spaced out evenly, and then you had 2 people working each area. Like, it was just basically like 10 bars all shoved into one,
Right.
basically. But then once you walked around the other side of that, then you get to like the other side of the U and you get down, and that's where those like bleacher seatings that you're talking, or those
Right.
stadium seatings that you're
Right.
talking about are.
So those were above that where the bar was.
Right, on the other side, like behind the bar, yeah. And then went up above, and then also they wrapped around, they continued wrapping around to make this whole like basically like an oval, right?
Yeah. And on the sides, it looked so the wraparound part up above to me looked like they might have had tables as well. Or like it was more like a table and then like a bench.
There
that
were
you
some
could
of
sit
those,
at.
yeah, that
Yeah.
had like the high top bars that you'd walk up to.
Yeah.
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 And then the stage was obviously right in front of that. So like you walked into the behind the stage.
Yeah.
Or yeah, in front of the stage, but they had that bar in front of it. So if that bar wasn't there, you'd see the stage right away.
Right when you walk in, if they didn't have that. But it was designed very well.
Yes.
To be able to hold all of that, like the bar, the seating, everything in that small venue.
And everything seemed GA. Just not just the floor, even the seating.
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah.
go up there.
I think so. Oh, yeah, we didn't go up. I mean, we normally see shows on the floor, but we didn't even go up. But it did seem like GA. So, and it almost seemed like people. I mean, obviously people know the venue, and we've never been there. But to get there early to get like the table seating if you want that, or if you want to be right on the, I'm gonna say right on the rail, but it's right like when you're up at the top, looking down. If you want to be right there, you had to be there pretty early.
Yep. And on both sides, if you're looking at the stage to the right of you and the left of you up there, it seemed like, I believe there were 2 bars up there as well. So you didn't, once
Yeah, I
you were
think
up there,
so.
you didn't even have to leave if you didn't
Right.
want to.
I wonder if there's bathrooms up there.
I would bet, yeah.
Yeah, that way you never have to come down.
And then like even below that, there were 2 bars on either side. So
Yep.
if you wanted drinks, there's plenty of
Right.
places around to like quickly
Right.
go. Like it was,
And you can hear the music the whole time,
Yep.
no matter where you are. So some venues, like arena venues, like you go up to get drinks, you can hear the music, but it's a little bit different. Where this was like you could really hear. I mean, you never had to leave the venue to get a drink or anything, so it was really nice.
and then I think we had this conversation too. Like, why is this considered a ballroom? This Mission ballroom? I think you may have asked that question.
Yeah. So when I think of ballroom, I think of like I'm gonna say the ballroom, but the big room at Eagles, like that huge giant room where like I would picture somebody having a ballroom dance like back in
The 20s or 30s.
yeah like
Like classical music,
Yeah.
like a string quartet up
exactly
there playing.
exactly, and then you just have this huge floor with that people dance on. That's what I think of when I hear ballroom.
People in these giant ass gowns, like
Right.
swaying back and I
Right.
think of the same thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of pointed up when you said that because there was a disco ball, and I think I said something like a ballroom is any venue that has a disco ball hanging from the middle of it, which I honestly don't know. I hope that's the answer to what makes a ballroom is just simply a disco ball.
So we can make this a ballroom.
Yeah, we can make anything a ballroom with the
Put
disco
a
ball.
disco ball in our living room and call
Yeah.
it a ballroom.
Exactly. But yeah, we're spending a lot of time talking about the venue because, I mean, like we said, we like venues, and we knew nothing about this place. It was just, let's go see a live show. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. This is probably one of my top venues now I think I've ever been to.
Yeah, I mean, for a small venue, it is a great venue. We've been to a lot of small venues. Our previous episode, we talked about seeing Avatar in a small venue, and it was like in the basement. So seeing something this well designed and well thought out for concerts is amazing.
I mean, acoustically too, the sound was great. There was nothing there. We've talked a lot about the
Yeah.
way it looked and how it felt. We haven't said anything about the way
That's
it
true.
sounded, but it did sound good. It
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah. I bet you could hear the band at the bar.
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, but like
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes those small venues also don't sound the best. Like unless you're standing like right in front of the stage or right by the speakers or whatever, then you can hear it. But we stood on both sides. We stood on stage right and stage left at different points in the concert, and it was perfect everywhere. No echoing. No, we didn't go up into the seats or into the amphitheater part,
Right.
but down on the floor, everything sounds perfect.
If I did have to say one thing about like one complaint about the venue is it is sort of out in the middle of nowhere. And there's a lot of development going on currently. So I think give it, a few years and you're going to have a lot more development, a lot more restaurants, bars, things like that out around that. But right now it's really just sort of in that development phase. So
But maybe there is stuff out there and we just don't know.
that could be because the next night we basically went out to the same area at
Yeah,
Fukuma's.
yeah. But it is, I mean, we're saying it's out in the middle of nowhere. We don't know Denver that well, but it was easy to get to. Like, we just took the bus out there, and it was easy to get to. And I
Right.
think Uber might have been okay as well. They had an Uber park pickup or Lyft Uber, rideshare, I'll say, pickup. That might have been okay. Traffic was pretty heavy, though, after the concert.
Traffic was heavy. The metro or their train stop, I don't know
Yeah.
what they call it, is right out there too. We saw
Yeah.
a lot of people walk to that. And you're right, we did take the bus out there and back. And apparently this was in August, right? So apparently this year in August, the entire month, all public transit was free in Denver.
Right.
So we took public transit everywhere we went. And it really wasn't that bad to take the transit. It was, we
Yeah.
just Googled what stops to go to and it took
Yeah.
us right to where we needed.
I mean, yeah, for Denver or for public transit in Denver, it was really easy to get around. So,
But yeah, I mean, Denver is definitely a sprawling. It's not as dense as Chicago is.
right.
Chicago has its sprawling aspects too. Like,
It does,
You're
yeah.
at Reggie's. It's gonna take you a long ass time to get up to the Riviera
Exactly.
to see a show.
Exactly.
But yeah, the venue in and of itself. Not getting into the concert just yet. The venue itself is probably one of my top venues I've ever been to now.
Yeah, I would, you look at this venue for, I mean, if we're passing through Denver, going to be in Denver, just see what's going on while we're there. And, even if it's not a show that we're 100% into, I would be fine going to see something there.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Even if it's just sit in the seats and
Yeah,
enjoy the music.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, we'll have to check that out next time. Yeah, I'm saying next time. We're going back, I'm sure. We like it.
So let's get into the bands a little bit. The first band that was there was 0936. Had you heard of this
I had
artist
never,
before?
no, never
Same.
heard of them before.
Same, never.
What were your thoughts?
I didn't like it.
I didn't either. I didn't want to be so negative right off the bat, but
I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot. Like, it was sort of a rap metal.
yeah. So they came out rapping.
Yes, he
Do you
did.
remember?
That's right.
Like, so there's no music or any. I don't think there was any music, and they just came out rapping.
Yeah, he did come out and just rap, and then the other band members came out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so that I thought was cool. That, I have no problem with rapping. I like rap music. It's not my go-to music per se, right? And I know there's some metal bands that use rap
Right.
into their music. This particular one, like, I was like, I'm just not feeling it.
It was two separate things in my mind. It wasn't like, I'm probably gonna say the wrong band, but like a Limp Bizkit rapping.
Okay.
Where it like is cohesive. It's like there was rap, and then there was music aspects, and it was like not cohesive in my mind. This is just my opinion
Yeah.
that it didn't cohesively go together.
And I guess that's what I was trying to get to, right? Is that once the band came out and started playing, that was sort of the sample or the backing track to the rap. It's sort of how I felt about it. And yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of that.
Yeah.
Where other bands where the rap is a part of the music in and of itself, you're right. It didn't quite feel like that per se.
But we're also okay with being at a quote unquote metal concert. I know 3 Days Grace isn't like heavy metal or anything. It's just
It's laser music again, right?
laser music, yeah. So metal rock, whatever you want to call it. but being like we're okay with opening bands not being metal
Yeah.
or like 100% metal, or we're okay with that. Um, just sometimes we don't have the best opinion about opening bands.
Yeah. I mean, people were into it. It seemed like.
It seemed like people knew who they were. Like there were songs
Yes.
that people were singing to and stuff. So maybe we're just out of the loop and we don't know who they are.
That
Maybe
could
they
be.
play them on the radio out there or something. I don't know.
So yeah, we'll touch on this, especially with Korn, because we have something very similar. And I can't remember. I did a little bit of research, and I can't remember who it was, but one of the, and I think it might be the opener for Korn, but they went viral with like a TikTok video or something
Oh, okay.
a few years ago or a year ago.
And we
or
don't
so.
go on TikTok.
Right, and then that's how they got their start. I think it's with Korn.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, 0936 just wasn't our cup of tea. We weren't like really feeling it, but
Right.
it was cool to see them. They had a lot of energy. They put on a decent show. Just the music itself was like one of those things. I'm like, I don't need to listen to this.
Right, right. And they seemed to, I mean, they did say that I think it was their first time playing in Denver.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, and they were saying like, oh, it's so hard to sing and move, and like because of the altitude or whatever. Which later on during Wage War, I really noticed it's hard to sing when you're not used to the altitude. I mean, we live in Chicago. That's not.
It's flat.
It's flat. Yeah, there's no hills. There's no nothing. So, but yeah, so that's something I remember that he mentioned a lot. But they did have really good energy. I mean, that is something.
Yes.
He they all like enjoyed like everything that they were doing, and they put on a good performance. Just yeah, the music wasn't our cup of tea,
Right.
which is fine. I mean,
Exactly. All right. So I think that's enough about 0936. Let's go ahead and move on to Wage War.
yeah.
Our second time singing this year, our second time total, right?
Yep. So we found out about Wage War at Hogfest with Godsmack, where we also saw 3 Days Grace before. They were one of the opening bands. I think there was 5 bands that night, and they were like the second opener.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
So they didn't play very long the first time, but I remember, I think it was the second song they played. Now I can't even think of what song it was, but I like immediately was like, I like this band. I like their music.
At Hogsfest.
At Hogsfest, yeah. So, like Brian mentioned earlier in the day when I looked up the venue and saw that it was Wage War with them, I got super excited because I was so happy to see them again. I think even when we saw them at Hogsfest, I told you, I was like, I am so, like, I can't wait for them to headline their own show. Like, I will go to that. Like, they put on a really good performance. I like their music. They have big drops. They have melodic parts. It's the best of everything.
Yeah, and as you said, they're like one of your top 3 favorite bands
Yeah.
right now.
I probably listen to them the most, honestly, because I listen, like, when I'm going to work, when I have to go to the office, I will listen to them. They're like my, okay, I'm going to do this sort of thing music.
Got to get pumped up type
Yeah.
thing.
And then on the way home, I listen to the Lamb of God to kind of be like, oh my God, I can't believe I just spent the whole day in the office. But yeah, so they're my go-to morning listen to on Spotify. So, and I was so excited that they got a longer set this time. So there was 2 songs I think I had never even heard, like playing on Spotify even. I mean, I just normally play like just their regular catalog. I don't go to like a certain album or anything. But I was happy to hear the songs that we had already heard and that we have on our playlist already.
Yeah, so I think we added like 6 or so songs to the Spotify playlist this time around for them.
We added 7 actually.
Oh, wow,
There's
all
7
right.
new songs, yeah. So, and I was mentioning that there was a couple that I had never heard because I just don't get to them on Spotify, and I don't really look at, or I don't go to specific albums. One of them I know is Prison. I had never heard that one. True Colors I'd never heard. And I think Death Roll I had never heard. So it was kind of fun to, hear some songs I've never heard and hear them live. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to them a few times on Spotify. I think they put on a better live show
Yeah.
than their albums are, personally.
yeah,
What I've listened to seems very soft, and it's not soft, but it seems softer.
Yeah, so you've mentioned that the live show is heavier than what their mix is, or what yeah, how do you say that? Like when they make their album, like how they mix everything together for their album. It is quieter or softer.
Yeah, and maybe that's just the energy they bring when they perform.
100%, yeah.
And they have a lot of energy in this.
Yeah.
They put on a hell of a show. I love watching their shows. They're great. The 2 times we've seen them, right?
Yeah.
And the shows are great. The music itself, like I said, just seems softer when you listen to it. When I listen to it by myself. But yeah, their live shows are amazing to see.
Yeah. Did you pick up this time that there's 2 singers?
Yeah, I did pick that up.
Or just because I told you beforehand?
I can't remember you telling me, but I remember
we talked about it before going.
Doing that because I was trying to take photos, and this is my one complaint with this performance with them is we've seen a show earlier this year where they had a bunch of lights behind and they just blared in front of the audience, and all you could see is like a silhouette and not see the band. This time around, Wage War was the same way, in my opinion. There was a lot of light from behind the band shining into the crowd, and they made for some really cool. I mean, they had some really cool lighting. It wasn't like I think it was the Interrupters we saw with Flogging Molly.
Yeah.
Where they just used like white light and shine that and blared it.
That was horrible, though.
Yeah, we had to leave.
That was like spotlights.
Yeah. And this was the same thing, in my opinion, to some extent, but it was reds and blues and purples and yellows, right? And it was really cool. They didn't just like shoot straight at you. They were moving around a bit, but it made it really hard to see the band, in my opinion, and I didn't like that. I don't know what you thought, if you felt the same way.
I didn't notice it until you showed me the pictures later, and I was like, oh, I didn't notice that you couldn't really see them. But yeah, I do remember it being a little darker just because it's like a shadow. Like the performers are like a shadow.
Like a silhouette,
yeah. Or a silhouette, yeah. But it didn't bother me while they were playing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's really my only complaint with the performance is, like, God damn it, I can't see you. I want to see you.
Right.
Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of that.
Yeah.
But other than that, amazing show, amazing performance, amazing energy all around. They were awesome.
Yeah. The only complaint I had during Wage War, and I mean, I get over this quickly later, but the 0936 performer, singer came out and
I forgot about that.
They sang during Manic, and I love Manic has some deep drops and good lyrics and everything, and I was kind of upset that happened because I really I don't know, I just wanted to hear it live again.
Yeah.
We heard it live obviously once, but I wanted to hear it live again, and it just kind of ruined it for a split second for me. So
yeah, I forgot he came out and they did that little I don't want to call it a duet, but it is like a duet. Like, they came out and did it together.
They sing he sang one chorus line, or not chorus, one, what are those called?
Verse?
One verse. He came out and sang one verse of Manic. And that was it. I mean, and then Duet kind of sang the
chorus.
The chorus, yeah. But that, I mean, looking back, it's no big deal. Just at that split second, I was disappointed.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I enjoyed that. I like when they bring out other artists to come out and sing songs. We've seen it a couple times. It doesn't happen often.
No,
so when it does happen, it's like a special moment. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is either like a once in a lifetime or only on this tour type thing. Why not ever see these two performers again on stage together singing one song?
Yeah. And it's kind of cool for like to play homage or whatever to the opener or whatever, to have somebody come out or have them come out and play with them or whatever. I mean, It is cool. Like I said, it was just a split second that I was not happy about it. And possibly if it was a different song, I would have not cared at all. But
fair, yeah.
I really wanted to hear Manic live again, and it just split second ruined it for me.
No, and I think that's a good, like, you can, I think that's a fair feeling to have, right? It's like, oh, this is my favorite song. I want to hear you sing it. Oh, I don't want to hear somebody else come out and sing your song type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So I think
I think people feel that way sometimes about covers. Like if a band will cover a particular song at a concert, they get upset. We don't really feel that way very often.
personally, I love covers. Covers are
Yeah.
like some of my favorite things.
Yeah, I just know some people do. They're like, oh, they should leave that to whoever the original performer was and don't cover it. But
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, Miley Cyrus, right, covering Metallica. At that point, you're like, what the fuck is she doing? Why is she covering this? And then, metal artists cover non-metal songs. Like Disturbed does this all the time. They take like 80 pop songs and make a cover of that.
Right. And potentially do it better than the original. Are we biased?
I mean, to you, yeah, sure, they do it better. To, Simon and Garfunkel fan, no, this is bullshit. Yeah. Potentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it goes both ways. But personally, I fucking love covers.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of them.
But then you have the opposite where it's like, I love Enter Sandman done by Ghost.
Right.
Like, that to me was really great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, but like you said, Miley Cyrus, we could skip that one when it comes on.
But I also enjoy that one.
Do you enjoy it now?
I do.
You didn't enjoy it the first time you listened to it.
It took a while to get over her horse-like voice to, like, enjoy this, but the musicianship in the back of it, Elton John and Yo-Yo Ma, like, they're great musicians back there also. And her voice, even though it's like a horse and whatnot, it does sound okay with that composition.
Maybe I just need to listen to it some more. I normally skip it.
It took some time to grow on me, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely not my favorite version of Nothing Else Matters on the Blacklist, but that whole album I love.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah. But I mean, this wasn't really a cover. It's just singing one verse.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I can't wait for Wage War to tour more. I will be jumping on those tickets. I'm sure we'll travel somewhere to see them if they don't come to Chicago. If they come to Chicago, we'll be seeing them here. If they come around Chicago, we might go somewhere else as well. So
definitely. And
I mean, are you okay seeing them multiple times?
No, yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, I'll see them again. It was a great time. Like I said, they put on a great show, so love to see it again.
Yeah. Okay, now the headliner.
So, yeah, before we get in there, there's a couple things I wanted to bring up.
Sorry.
One, in between Wage War and 3 Days Grace, and I think even between 0936 and Wage War, I noticed on usually they bring up the house lights so they can tear down, the set, start getting things ready for the next set. So they're putting music over top of that. And I think it was during 0936, but definitely during Wage War, but in between. They played a lot of Rammstein, which is not... I'm not very familiar with that. I'm familiar with Rammstein, right? But not a lot of Rammstein in between. Right.
So I think the first time they played what we're going to call laser music, like they played System of a Down. That's the only one I remember. They did play Du Hast during between 0936 and Wage War. I remember System of a Down. I'm trying to think of what else. But only one Rammstein, and it was only Du Hast.
Yeah.
The thing I noticed during Du Hast was everybody was singing to all the other songs, and then when Du Hast came on, there was only a few people singing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which was kind of crazy. I mean, to me, it's crazy because
that's like the one Rammstein song everyone knows.
Everybody knows. I mean, even non-fans, like you say Rammstein, and they're like, "Oh, Du Hast."
Yeah,
like,
it's the only song they know. Yeah,
it was played on Gilmore Girls.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll play it for you.
No, that's fine. But then, in between Wage War and 3 Days Grace, they played a lot more.
They did. Like the whole album, you said, right?
I'm pretty sure it was almost, if I remember correctly, like the entire Mooder album, like straight to finish.
Yeah.
But they like stopped in the middle and they played one song. I can't remember what that
Ghost.
one song was. Was it Ghost?
Yeah. I don't remember what song it Ghost, but it was Ghost.
Okay.
And the only reason I remember that is because you were wearing the Hunter's Moon Ghost shirt, and a guy came up and talked to you about Ghost, and he had never seen them but wants to see them. We had that whole conversation. And then the very next song was a Ghost song.
Okay.
I just can't remember what it was. And I wanted to be like, oh, we just talked about Ghost, now they're playing Ghost. But then they went straight back to the album.
Right into the album.
Yeah.
And kept playing it, which was really cool. I love that album. I love Rammstein, so it was great to see. It was just odd to see hear Rammstein in between the sets.
Right.
It doesn't really happen that often.
So I wonder how they do. Like, I don't know how venues do it. Like, maybe they set up their Spotify account or somebody's random Spotify account, and they thought that they had it on shuffle, and it wasn't. And then they did what we do sometimes, where you try to put it on shuffle, and it plays one song, and then goes right back to what you were playing. So, possibly.
Yeah, and yeah, but like, yeah, maybe.
But we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
But it was weird also to have just like one album, just
right. That's why I'm
constantly go
wondering
through.
if the whole shuffle thing just messed
Yeah.
up. And
because usually it
nobody
is a
noticed
mix
it.
of a lot of bands, not more than one song.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see.
Yeah. I do like when venues play the style of music that you're there to see, though, and not necessarily playing like, I don't know, like country music when you're there for a metal show or something. We've had that before.
I agree. I like when they play the style of music you're there to see, but it does make me smile when like in between all of a sudden here comes like this country song or this pop song, and I just like smile and look around because you can see people get fucking pissed, and I'm like, I don't like this, but at the same time I'm really enjoying your anger and how frustrated you are at that.
Yeah. And if it's 90s country, I know the songs, so I'll probably sing along. But
Yeah. The other thing I noticed, or the other thing that was really cool to see, this venue has, when you bought a beer, you got like a really, really thick cup, plastic cup. And all around the venue, they had little return slots for these plastic cups. So clearly they're like recycled cups. You throw the cup in there, they wash them, they probably reuse them for the next thing. Really cool to see. Like,
yeah.
awesome. Waste control and all that fun shit. But there was a giant circle of people in between.
Oh,
the
yeah,
acts.
I forgot about this. This was between Wage War and 3 Days Grace.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
They took one of those empty glasses and were playing like flippy cup, but with their foot. And so like one person would go and stomp on the edge. The goal was to flip it up and to make it land on its face. But whoever got the cup closest to them would go and do it again. And like every now, like I watched it for a few minutes. It was fun to watch. Turn away, talk to you, talk to other people, look at the stage, look around, and all of a sudden you'd hear that same group cheer all at once. It's like, oh, somebody got the cup. That was a unique thing I'd never seen outside of that venue. That was awesome to see. Like little, every venue usually kind of has its own little traditions and things that happen at that venue because of the way it's set up, what they offer, stuff like that. And it was just cool to see that at that venue.
Yeah. I did notice also, and maybe it's just Denver people being friendly, but between Wage War and 3 Days Grace, we had quite a few people talk to us, like maybe like 4 or 5, which is great. I mean, just being friendly.
Yeah.
Mostly about your shirt.
Yeah.
But, cool.
No, yeah, it was.
I could probably wear a Ghost shirt and get 0 compliments, and you wear it and you get 5 in one night.
I don't know. Yeah, it was fun. I mean,
it's a good conversation thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Generally, it is your band shirt or whatever that people talk about, but
It's a good way conversation starter.
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, Ghost is really popular out in Denver, I guess, but
Yeah.
we had a lot of people talk to us about Ghost in separate situations.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because even on the bus out there, the guy was like, "Ghost, I want to see them."
Yeah. So, Ghost, if you're listening,
Go to Denver.
Go to Denver. You'll sell out probably.
So yeah, that was in between Wage War and 3 Days Grace. So let's go ahead and dive into 3 Days Grace.
Yeah. So, like mentioned before, this is the third time we've seen them this year. And honestly, it was probably almost the same show that we saw 3 times.
Did we add anything new? I don't think we did to the
didn't.
playlist.
No, we never had to add anything new because we had heard everything.
Right. So we saw them the first time at Hogsfest.
Hogsfest with Godsmack.
Saw them at Upheaval.
Yep.
I think we added one song.
Yeah. At Upheaval we did. Let me.
Or was it? I think it may have been like 2 or 3 actually.
There was a couple at Upheaval. Quite a bit actually. Break, Time of Dying, Neurotic, The High Road, World So Cold, Just Like You, Lifetime. Yeah, those are the songs that we added from before to Upheaval. So they did, but they played for a long time at Upheaval.
Yeah, they did.
And they played for a long time in Denver too.
Yeah.
Like almost 2 hours almost.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah,
But they talked a lot too. So
they did. I don't know. We'll have to look at the tour dates, but I think this was either toward the end of this leg of the tour.
possibly, yeah.
They seem like they're just having a good time, enjoying it. Maybe a little drunk at times. One cool thing that they did that that I had never seen at one of their shows, but once again, this is their first headlining show we've seen. That they all came up and did acoustic songs. Like they did a bunch of acoustic
Right. We had never seen that
versions
before.
of their songs.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, and that was different. I mean, it is different than what we've seen before. Even when they played with Disturbed in 2019, I don't remember them doing an acoustic part. So it was really cool. Something different that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and there was a fan interaction thing where they brought a couple fans up, right?
Yeah, so during Just Like You,
Okay.
they had two fans come up. One actually knew the words. One, I think, was just pretty. So they had her come up on the stage. But she did not know the words at all. It was kind of funny. But yeah, it's cool for fans to be able to do that, to go up and sing with your band.
Yeah.
Or like we talked about before, like Green Day does it.
Yep.
It is cool to have those interactions with your fans, and somebody gets to go up on stage and sing, and it's cool. And it's a good song to do it, just like you.
Yeah. I don't know. Anything else about this particular set?
So I realized, granted, we didn't stand like in the middle for 3 Days Grace. We kind of stood near the back in a way.
Yep.
So not, I mean, we were in the crowd, but not like in the middle of the crowd like we normally are for GA shows. And I noticed how many people are dancing. I've never noticed that before, but then again, like when you're in the crowd, you can't really dance that much.
Yeah, especially toward the back, you can definitely move around a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think I realized that, 3 Days Grace music is kind of like dancey or, like poppy in a way.
Did Wage War come out and do a performance with 3
Yes.
Days Grace also?
Yeah. I don't remember what song they came out, but the singer of Wage War did come out and play with Korn. Or, sorry. The singer of Wage War did come out and play with 3 Days Grace. So I think that also kind of settled my mind about the Manic situation, where I was like, oh, okay, it's, like this is what they're doing on their tour. It's cool to kind of like I said, play homage to the band in front of you, to say thank you, or, like just to bring them in or whatever. So, again, it was just a split second thing that I didn't like about Manic.
No, yeah. It was just kind of cool to see that pattern, right?
Yeah.
Of like the opener, then the second band brings out the opener to sing with, and then the closer brings out the band before then, the middle act to do that. So yeah, I couldn't remember if they did that or not, and that sort of followed that pattern, but that was kind of cool to see.
Yeah. I think I even kind of tapped you like, hey, like he's out there like singing with them or whatever. So I was like, okay, like this is just something they're doing. So
yeah, and I kind of don't remember that because I was a bit done by that point. I think I was just like,
you were over 3 Days Grace music.
I was. It's like we've seen them twice already this year. It's fun to go out and see them, but at the same time, it's like, all right, now I'm bored. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know.
I wasn't bored. I mean, I like their music. I wasn't bored.
Yeah.
It's fun to sing along.
Yeah, fair.
Like I said, kind of dancey.
Yeah.
Like we don't dance, but kind of fun to play or whatever. But I think I was towards the end. I don't know what song it was, but I did start looking at my watch a lot. But that's because we were taking public transit, and I think we had one bus that we could have made before leaving. So I was kind of like,
what it was?
Yeah, I remember telling you like, oh, we need to leave in 10 minutes, otherwise we're gonna miss that bus. But it got over like right then, anyways. So
yeah,
and then the traffic backed up the bus, so we had plenty of time to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I was definitely bored and over it and kind of done. Maybe had one beer too many, and that kind of helped my opinion on like, all right, I don't want to. I'm kind of done with this. I want something different.
And we have been getting into more heavier music.
Yeah.
Where 3 Days Grace is a little.
Yeah.
I don't want to say poppy. That's the wrong word, but
No, it's
more melodic, more
the
not
radio
melodic.
music,
Radio,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
laser music type thing. It's radio friendly. It's easily consumed, and you know, yeah, people like it. And
yeah,
it's not bad music at all. It's good music. I enjoy it. But, I also want heavier stuff sometimes. A lot of times I do.
yeah,
So, 3 Days Grace isn't what I'm seeking out most of the time. But every now and then it's a good palate cleanser type thing to
yeah.
move
To
to the next thing.
listen 1 or 2 songs in there. So
Yep.
yeah.
So, I mean, overall thoughts. What were your thoughts?
I mean, thinking that we had no time to be excited for this concert or no time to like research much about it, I was very pleased. I was pleased with the venue. Again, like I said, if we go back to Denver, I'll probably be looking to see what they have around the time we're there. And then the bands, even though we didn't really care for 0936, they did have a great energy, which does bring the energy for the next band, and then the headliner as well. So possibly, I mean, Wage War played with them at Hogs Fest, but possibly that's a little bit heavier than like 3 Days Grace music. But it does bring good energy for the headliner as well. So I think they had a good progression there as well.
Yeah, no, agreed, 100%. Like I said, venue, one of my top venues now ever, I think. It's an amazing place to see a show. Overall, show was a lot of fun. I had a great time there. Looking back, like I said, toward the end of 3 Days Grace, I was sort of like, I'm done with this. But looking back, it was like, actually, even when I thought I was done and bored and didn't want to be here, I don't think I wanted to be anywhere else, honestly. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But we do just love to see live music. So I think that really made it a better night than what we probably would have ended up doing, which is sitting on the couch in the room, watching TV.
And as you said, like, it was that day we found the show and went. So it's like last minute. Sure, this is great. I'd rather do this than sit at the bar, sit at our room type.
Yeah, I mean, I even enjoy this better than our original plans of going to Mile High Spirits. So
yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was 3 Days Grace, the extra show that we weren't expecting to see, and the primary reason, like I said, we went to Denver was to see Korn.
Yeah.
And that was the very next day.
Yes. Yeah. So, on Tuesday, August 16th, we saw Korn and Evanescence, and it was just their 2022 summer tour.
I think, yeah, that's the title.
Like, there wasn't really a name to it.
Yeah, like the co-headlining summer 2022 tour.
Yep. So going into or it was at the Ball Arena. I think we mentioned that earlier in the podcast, but previously the Pepsi Center. And the openers were Jairus Johnson and Evanescence.
Yeah, it's Jairus Johnson, definitely an opener. Evanescence, also not the last band to go on, but also
kind of
in
headliner.
The title of the tour. So
it was like a dual headlining with one opener.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of weird. I don't know how that works.
I feel like we've seen a couple of these. Like we saw Lamb of God and Megadeth. They were almost the same way, where they're both I mean, it's their tour, but it's separate.
Right, but who's at the top of the bill is like the headliner.
Right.
So it is weird. I mean, in this context, I would consider Evanescence an opener, but it's really weird to me that like I said, co-headliner, but who's really the headliner?
Right. Yeah. The price was $79.50 with $21.90 in fees. Probably because it's a Live Nation concert, so they have to tack on all of their fees.
Know who we got 3 Days Grace from. I think that was like the Axis or whatever.
Axis, yeah.
Vendor, that I'm gonna say vendor, but like distribution or ticket agents, whatever.
Yeah, ticket agent. Yeah, probably. And we use them for like the Radius or something like nearby.
We have used them before, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the second time we've been to Ball Arena. What were your thoughts this time on the venue? Because I feel like I didn't remember it too much.
Yeah, but before we get too deep into the actual show, why don't we talk about our pre-show traditions that we normally do? Which there's probably a reason we skipped right over this.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
One of the reasons we went to Denver
Right.
was to go to the Kumas that was out there.
Right. So this was a trip because I would look up Kuma's to see when it was open. I looked this up on Monday as well because I was like, oh well, we could just go to Kuma's on Monday instead of on Tuesday. Just
It's
the day
still
before.
Monday's still before the concert,
Yeah.
and the thing is, we
Yeah.
go to Kuma's before the concert.
Yeah. So when I looked it up on Monday, it said that they were closed on Monday, and I was like, okay, well they're just closed on Mondays. It makes sense. Sometimes restaurants are closed on Mondays because it's their least busy day. Give their workers a break and everything. So then when I looked on Tuesday to see when they opened, because I was getting conflicting times. Sometimes it said 11:15, sometimes it said 4 o'clock. So I was like, okay, let's see what time it's open. And per their website, they were open at 11:15. So I was like, cool, they're open. When I looked up directions to get there on using transit, it said closed.
Like permanently closed.
Permanently closed. Not just closed, yeah, permanently closed. So we get on the bus. Luckily, the same bus that we took to go to Mission Ballroom, so we knew what we were doing this time. And went out there and walked and found Kuma's Corner. And sure enough, it was closed.
Like
Just closed.
Right, yeah. Like we've been in this area before. The last time we were in Denver, there's a hotel with a brewery, New Belgian. I think that's the New Belgian Brewery, Fat Tire, who has like a rooftop bar and great view of the city. And there's also another brewery like across the street from there, not too far from there, that we've been to. I can't remember the name of that one. So we've been to this area before. And when we came this time, it was in that almost exact same area. I think that second brewery we went to was on the corner.
Yep, just down the street, yeah.
So we walk down, we see that brewery, and like, all right, well, we don't know if it's permanently closed yet. It might be, it might not. If we do, we have backups. We can go to this brewery. I can't remember if they have food. They might not. They might, who knows. But there's also that roof deck bar we can go to. And we walk up, and the first thing I notice is this awesome mural on the side of the building. And
right.
Kuma's has some really cool murals and some really, really great art. Like, not only do they usually have, like, concert posters hanging on the wall, they have, like, small local artists sometimes post or hang stuff from their walls.
Yeah, Kuma's 666 on Diversity, before it closed, they had great art.
Yeah.
That was locally done, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, they all have, like, great art on them, and we'd love to see it. And, like, we saw this mural. It's like, oh, my God, this is awesome. I like this mural. This is cool. It's their final Kuma's on the list. Great mural, starting off to great, like a good start. And they had like an outside area where there were like no tables, no chairs.
Well, there's tables.
Were there
yeah, so the tables were chained up, like
Okay.
they just closed or whatever. But you could kind of tell that they hadn't been used in a few days, but they were still outside chained up.
And I mean, to some extent, right? Like we got there Sunday, and it started raining Sunday night, all day Monday, and also some of Tuesday, I think.
It was still raining Tuesday night.
Was
so
it?
It rained all night. Right. Yeah, all day.
So it makes sense, like, why nobody's sitting outside,
Right.
because nobody wants to sit in the rain.
Right. I don't think it was raining at that moment, but yeah, like they're not going to open up outdoor seating if it's potential to rain,
Right.
because then they have to find seats for all those people inside.
Right. So then we walk around to the front, just right in front of the front, and you can kind of tell that the lights are off.
Yeah, like right when you walk by the outdoor seating, I could tell that there was stools on top of the tables, and I was like, oh. I think I even said like, oh.
And then we didn't find the front door finally.
Yeah.
And yep, there's that like giant padlock on the front door.
Right, but there's no sign or anything saying, sorry, we closed.
Yeah.
It's just, you could tell that they're closed. So I think they are permanently closed. They just didn't update the Kuma's Corner website because it still says that they're open. But then we were talking about, like, on our way to the other hotel to eat, where we actually got some food. I think I even said, like, oh, maybe this is why Denver wasn't listed when we were at Kuma's West Loop, and they had like all of them listed on one of their chalkboards, and they didn't have Kuma's Denver listed. So maybe it was closed for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It was a little bit disappointing because it was the last one on the list that we had to get before we knocked all of them off until they opened a new one. Even Kuma's 666, Kuma's 2, we'd been to, and that's no longer a thing. So it would have been cool, like, oh, we went to Denver too, type thing.
Right,
But,
yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, luckily we got the village. What's that town? We always forget the town.
Yeah, there's some suburb north here that had one,
and it permanently closed. So at least we got that one before it closed.
Yeah. But I mean, so yeah, that was the hope, was to go to that last Kuma's before seeing Korn. That was one of the things we were excited for to do on this trip. Not only to see the Korn,
right,
but that.
I mean, I might have been more excited to go to Kuma's than
Yeah.
go to the concert just to check it off the list. Like, check that box.
But back to your original question, the venue.
Yeah.
I remember the venue about the same.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I don't remember much about it.
I remember, we went there to see Slipknot. I think we got the VIP tickets because that's how you had to get floor access or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Because otherwise you had like a seat, so you had to get like the VIP package came with.
This is the Slipknot in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So I remember going up those. We didn't this time. We went up them a few times, but not initially. But those stairs, I guess it's the front, but it's a giant oval, so what's really a front?
Yeah.
But you go up like those giant escalators going up, and then they had merch right there, and then you walk around, and then you can go down to your seat or up from your seat.
Yeah, and they have
there.
like all their vendors and beer and everything up there. Yeah.
It's like your 100 level type
Right.
access.
Right.
Um,
So this time when we went in, though, we went in another door. We didn't go in the front. We went on like a side door.
Yeah, because it had started to rain, I think.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get out of the rain. We weren't sure if we can get in. They're like, sure, you can come in. Same thing, though. Like, they don't care how you get in as long as you're in.
Right. But then you even said that we had GA. And she's like, yeah, you can come in here. And I guess it was a little bit frustrating that there was no explanation that, hey, yeah, you can come in this door, but you have to go up the escalator, back down the escalator, and go through another door to get to the GA spot.
Because you had to go get your wristband.
Right. So we were not explained that when we went in, which maybe those workers didn't know. I don't know. But we tried to go down and do you remember that? Like we went down and
so I remember that, but I remember I think it was when we walked up to that lady to get in. I think it said non-GA.
It did, yeah. That door said non-GA.
Because we walked up, we're like, we're GA. How do we get in? And she's like, oh, just come through here.
Right.
So, that's what it was.
Yeah. And there was just no explanation of, oh, you can come in here, but.
Yeah, because I think we walked all the way down to the GA area to like show our tickets to get onto the floor, and then she's like, because the other band had already started by this time.
Right.
So I like lean in. She had to yell in my ear, sound like a whisper, but like yell and be like, you have to go back up these, go down the hall, go down the escalator, go through this door. Once you get through that door, you're gonna come out just on the other side of me over here.
Yeah.
And so we did that, got our wristbands, and came back in.
Yeah. And all of that could have been avoided by the first person saying, oh, you have to go down to this hallway or whatever.
You can come in here, but make sure you go over here to get your wristband.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I understand they can't have wristbands everywhere. I understand that. Because then you could potentially get somebody without GA that gets a wristband. But, yeah. But, I mean, for the venue, for me, I do remember the escalator part and then the vendors on the outside. I remember that part. The part that I didn't realize is when we were on the floor, like how many rows there are, like of seats, or like how many layers there are of seats. For Slipknot, I don't remember that. We were really close to the stage for Slipknot, I remember. And maybe I just didn't look around that much, but I thought it was a much smaller venue than what it is.
I mean, it definitely feels smaller than it should be because it is a major sports arena. Like they have 2 professional teams that play there. So when we first got in there, I was like, oh my God, this is tiny. But maybe that's just the normal size.
Yeah, it's almost like Allstate, I think.
See, I think it's a little bigger than Allstate, but not by much. Yeah, I think they have like a third row that Allstate doesn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or a little bit longer type thing. But I do remember looking up and seeing all the rows because, as said earlier, a friend of mine is a big Avalanche fan. So I remember taking a photo and sending, and Patrick Raw, whatever, I can't pronounce his name, is his favorite player. So he has his number retired I took a picture of that and sent it to him. Both times I have now. So I do remember looking up and seeing all of those seats. The thing that I'm questioning now is in between, I think, Jairus Johnson and Evanescence. We went up to that main, like, mezzanine level, our concourse level, and walked all the way around the oval, like, once or twice. And I think for Slipknot, I don't know if we were able to walk all the way around or if you were stopped and had to go back. But this time we got all the way around.
Yeah, I feel like we did get stopped, like, right on the edge, like, before you walk all the way around. So.
Yeah.
And I don't know the reason. And maybe it wasn't that way and we just went up and down because we didn't really walk that much.
Yeah,
but
that could be
Yeah,
too.
I remember having, now that you said that, like, I remember them having it, like, roped off or whatever for Slipknot.
Yeah, I felt like that too. And it could just be like a stage setup thing or like, I'm not sure, staffing or something along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, the venue was kind of how I remember. It's a stadium. Nothing special, nothing great, nothing horrible. It is what it is type thing.
Yeah.
So what about Jairus Johnson then?
Another, you're okay, but not something that I needed to see.
Yeah, another rap rock type band.
Yeah, rap rock, I would say, not metal. I would say it was more rock. Just from the guitar riffs and everything, it's more rocky than metal.
Well, I mean, so I remember Jairus Johnson being a little bit different than 0936, and maybe this is where I was trying to get the two confused, and they're so very similar that it's easy in my head to confuse, in my mind anyway.
Yeah, I guess they were, yeah.
But if I remember right, Jairus Johnson used more samples. So, like, they would play...
Right.
They would play more like... they would do, like, Rain and Blood, and then do that at the beginning, then do their rapping, and then transition into their own stuff potentially. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember that because they would, like, and they actually play the, like, actual song.
Yep.
And then they, like, transition into their song. I remember that, yeah.
And I think it's Jairus Johnson who was, like, the guy who made it really big on TikTok or Twitter or something.
It makes sense that he was social media because he did say, like, oh, I'm going to gain 10,000 more followers because all of you are going to follow me right now. Like, that was a big thing for him.
He did mention, like, what I want you to do, I want you to do two things right now. One, go on Instagram, follow me now. Two, like, get a circle pit going or something along those lines.
Yeah.
The thing that rubbed me the wrong way with him is there's one part, I'm pretty sure it was him. There's one part where he's like, I am the future of rock and roll, and then, like, went off on his, I don't know if that's a song title or what, but it's like, you're an opener, like a pretty young opener. You might be very popular and big right now. It's kind of, I don't want to say shitty, but it's like you're self-proclaiming yourself as the next, like, the biggest thing in rock and roll, or the next big thing in rock and roll, and it's like, honestly, I don't think you are. You're very far from that.
Not from this genre, at least.
So, like, cool, you have yourself an ego, but you're not that good. Sorry, like, you're fine. And, like, that moment, like, rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, just get off the stage, please.
Yeah, the thing that rubbed me the wrong way is every single song had a track playing. So it was like him, a guitarist, and a drum player, or a person playing the drums. And there was a track playing every single song.
Oh, there was,
and you could hear, like, a bass playing in the track, and then also you can hear other singers in the track. And that just, that's what rubbed me the wrong way, is I'm just like, this is too put on. Like, are you actually singing? Is this, like, your lip syncing? Like, are you...
Yeah, and I don't feel like...
what's going on?
Yeah, and I don't feel like he was lip syncing, he was singing, but it was like your backing vocals or, you know, your backup singer. So, like, you notice it a lot with some bands, right, where you have the bass player, the second guitarist come up, and they'll do the backup voices.
Right.
Didn't do that this time. It was like, we're going to have it over the PA system instead of having one of the people come up and sing. Right.
And maybe he has, like, another performer that's normally with him and they couldn't come on the tour, or I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. Honestly, I haven't listened to their music since. And the other thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, which it's part of the logo or the name or the logo, I would say, is like he had a sword, but it didn't really go with anything.
So I think it's an overall theme that we just didn't get.
Okay.
Or
okay, maybe.
or like we said, we came in the middle of his set and may have missed what was going on.
Something, yeah.
Because I think even if we knew where to get our GA tickets, our wristbands, and went in right away, I think we walked through the door while the first set was on.
Yeah.
Because like we came back late from dinner.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably won't seek out his music again.
Oh,
That's
no,
just my
I
own
won't.
opinion. But I'm just, yeah. I hope he makes it great on TikTok or Instagram or whatever he was doing, but we did not follow him. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm not seeking that out again.
Right.
Either him or 0936. I think 0936 is on Shiprock this next time around.
0936 is. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, hopefully 0936 does well in Shiprock. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there is some potential there.
Definitely of the two, 0936s I liked better.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, both of them are like, I'm not really seeking this out.
Are we too old for them?
No, I don't think so. Like, it's just not. I don't want to say it's not good music because somebody out there likes it and somebody thinks it's great, and they're probably right. It is great.
So after seeing,
like,
so after seeing Jairus Johnson, I had a thought in my mind where I'm like, is there going to be a new genre of metal come out or a new genre of music come out where it's like rappy metal, synchronized something music?
Yeah.
I had that thought.
I mean, yeah, like there are some metal acts out there that incorporate rap, right? Like Slipknot incorporates rap to some extent, especially early on.
Yeah, but this is more rap focused in my mind.
Fever 333 has a lot of rap influence and a lot of rap components there too. More punk and rap all added. So I mean, it's there. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because we saw two that were kind of similar in two nights, and that's what made the thought come into my head.
It was really odd to see two almost identical bands on two completely different tours.
Right.
And not like identical in terms of like, you're right. It does seem like a subgenre that's popping up, and maybe it is already, and we just don't follow that subgenre.
Right. And maybe it is more of like a social media thing that we just aren't into or we just don't know about, where maybe the music is popular on TikTok or on
whatever
some social media that we aren't on or don't follow.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about them?
No.
Yeah, I guess let's just move on then. Yeah, so I think this tour was also really weird to some extent, right? Where, and I think this is a common thing more recently that I've noticed, where you have your headliner and like either your headliner, your co-headliner, or your headliner and your second, the next one down.
Yeah.
And then you have like 8 bands listed below that with different little symbols. Like here's a cross, here's a star, here's an ampersand.
Where they have lots of openers, but not all those openers are touring on every single show.
Right. We get this opener for these 3 days and this one for these 4 days.
Right.
And I feel like the promotion for this was the same way, where you had a lot of different potential openers.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a poster for this tour, and it had POD.
Yep.
Listed as an opener. So going into it, like and this concert started early. We didn't put the time on there, but I think it started at 6 or 7.
7. It started really early.
Yeah. For some reason I thought it started at 6.
It may have, but I don't know. I mean, I can't remember.
Because I think doors were like at 5 or 5:30, so maybe it started at 6:30.
Oh, it did start at
yeah, that's why we were late.
Yep.
That's why we were late, because we were late after dinner. But anyways, that doesn't matter. But I assumed that there was going to be more openers than just Jairus Johnson and then Evanescence.
Right, and I think that's what I was trying to get to, right, is that after Jairus Johnson, like, we easily could have looked at that poster again or the website and figured it out. But we didn't do that, right? We just went in thinking, all right, there's going to be one more opener than Evanescence. But no, it went straight into Evanescence.
Right, right. And I wonder, so we've been on a lot of shows recently, especially since 2020 happened, where they are scheduled to have 4 bands or more, and somebody had to drop out for a few shows. And possibly that happened with this, and we just haven't been following it close enough. And they don't really announce it. It's not like somebody comes out on stage and says,
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry, like Magic Sword couldn't be here today because they have COVID," or what, whatever. So possibly that could have happened, and there were supposed to be more people. But it was, in my opinion, also, I think you're saying the same thing. It was very weird that it went just Jairus Johnson straight into Evanescence.
Which, once again, like, if they're a co-headliner, like, I don't know. It definitely felt like an opening slot. But they got a long set.
They did, yeah, yeah. But even with Evanescence coming on, like, I was thinking it was another band, and then you lean over and you're like, this is Evanescence already. And I was just like, really? So, but what were your thoughts on Evanescence?
I've never really been the biggest fan of Evanescence. They've had a few songs that, like, all right, their first one, "Wake Me Up," I think is the title of that.
Yeah.
That came out. I want to say high school. Like, that was roughly around the same time I started to get into metal and music a little bit. So like, right around the time of Linkin Park Hybrid Theory.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's when this came out, or like a year or so later. So right around that, like, new metal scene, but it wasn't metal at the same time. It was more rocky. But this got a lot of airplay on Laser growing up.
Yep.
The kids in school who weren't really into metal knew this music and enjoyed it. And it was like, all right, fine. It's rocky for sure, but it's not metal in my opinion. Like, but whatever. So I mean, it was fun to see them. A female lead, awesome to see more of those out there. And yeah, I mean, she came out with like the Black Wings. There was a lot of theatrics that went along with some of the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of show parts or like they put on a show during
Yep.
the whole thing.
People, like, she was running up playing the piano for parts, coming down. It was a good show. The music was just fine,
Yeah.
but all in all, a good show in my
Yeah.
opinion.
For me, I honestly, when the tour came out, I was like, I want to see Korn again. I like a few, quite a bit of their songs, and I was just like, I don't really want to see Evanescence. Like, I think I even told you, like, oh, I'm okay going later to the show if we don't make it, because we were eating dinner still and stuff, but we got there in plenty of time. But I was like, it's okay if we miss a little bit, because, I mean, honestly, looking back, I could have missed all of Jairus Johnson and been absolutely fine. But I guess I was okay. Or, I mean, after she went on and they started playing and everything, like, I was enjoying it. I don't know their songs, and they're definitely not heavy in any means. Like you're saying, like, they're more rock based than metal based, in our opinion. And I did like how many people were into the concert. I sometimes I judge on that as well, as like the crowd. It seemed like it was half and half, like half there to see Evanescence, half there to see Korn. But I've never been a huge fan of Evanescence, but I was pleasantly surprised that I did enjoy the music a little bit more than I thought I would. So
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot there for me to say
I
on top
know.
of that. Like,
Yeah, I know. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we enjoyed it. Is it something that we're going to seek out to be like, oh, I'm going to go see an Evanescence concert again? Probably not,
yeah.
unless they're playing with somebody else. But I don't know. It did open my eyes a little bit to female lead. Like you said, there's a few female lead bands that we like that are heavy. And I think that's what I like about when a female leads, is like when they can do like the heavy growls and everything. And this is more just melodic singing. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so it's a little bit different than what we're into or what I'm into for a female lead. So, but yeah, I mean, I liked the show. I liked the performance. Um,
The stage was pretty big.
yeah,
Their setup was
yeah,
pretty big because they were like we said, it was a show.
right,
They added theatrics and
right.
showmanship to it.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was good, and like I said, the crowd energy really made it a lot better too. So maybe if the crowd was more in our mindset, I probably would have just been like, oh my gosh, I would have been bored. You were bored at 3 Days Grace. I would have probably been bored. Like, hey, we could go walk around or something.
Yeah, I was about the same way. I'm not gonna lie. There were parts where I was like, all right, I'm bored. Let's get this going.
Yeah, let's get to Korn and see who we came here to see.
All right, so let's get to Korn.
Okay. So yeah, we had seen Korn a few times, but this time it was way different. Like the stage setup was way different because before they came out, like there was screens that came down, see-through screens. I don't even know how to explain that.
Yeah, so
It was like no, you'll probably explain it way better than I did. So
I was gonna say, like, most bands usually have like the black backdrop that falls down with
Yep.
either like a logo on it or just blank. A
Yep.
lot of times it's like the logo of like the band, and this one wasn't. It was just like it was like this transparent film, almost like it seemed like a tarp or something, but it was transparent and very like we were pretty far back, so we couldn't see.
yes, yeah,
Like very closely. If you were close, you could tell right away that no, this wasn't like a fabric or a screen. This was like LED lights, basically.
yeah. That's a good way to put it. Like see-through LED lights. Yeah,
Right, like just strip after strip of them, and that was kind of weird. And then they turned them on, and it had the logo of Korn, but you could still see through it to the back where the
Right.
drums and everything were.
right.
This is the first time I've ever seen anything like that, which was unique and actually really kind of cool.
It was really cool. And like you said, like if you're up closer, I think it would have been even better to see it like that. But I mean, we were able to see all the, I'm gonna say the show, but like the everything that they played on there, because they did use that for, like the background, like the video that plays in the background and stuff. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and it's like when they first came out, though, it was still in front. And
Yeah,
they
it was
played,
still
like,
down.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
they
they
played
played-
a whole song or two whole songs.
I think, yeah, 2 or 3 songs they played
Yeah,
with that down, and you could see through it
yeah,
to see them. But also, I don't know if that was like the eye or what, but there was something on that screen also moving around, and there was a show to that aspect as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And which was weird because I thought that when they started playing that it would raise like a normal curtain or whatever. And when it stayed down, one thought I had was like, I hope this doesn't stay down the whole time. I know that's really weird because you could still see the band members, but it's a little bit different where
Yep.
you can't really see through it, or you could see through it, but you couldn't. I mean, it's not like having it raised, but yeah, I wonder what it was like for like Jonathan or like any of the other band members on the other side, like if they could see through to the crowd or if it's just
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Um,
interesting. I never
that
thought
they-
about that.
because you know like a lot of bands start playing when the screen or when the curtain's down or the screen's down or whatever, and I always wonder like what's going through their head. Like, are they just playing like looking at the floor? Or are they like playing like they're looking at the crowd? Like, what's that like? So when you have something where you can't be just turned around backwards or whatever because people can see you, like, I wonder what they could see out.
Yeah, agreed. And it did eventually rise up
Mhm.
and continue to like play that like monitor that you would typically see
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a band.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I thought that was a very unique stage setup, and really cool to like incorporate that in where you don't have just a screen in the back. Like the screen was in the front of the stage then, basically, because normally the screen's behind the band that plays the video or whatever, and this was in the front of the band, so that was really cool.
Yeah, and toward the end, we thought the concert was gonna be over. They lowered it,
Right.
but then like raised it again. So it was a thematic part of the show and the overall experience. That screen was.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, any other memories you have of Korn or thoughts of this performance?
Not too many core memories, like big memories. I mean, it was like when we saw Korn before, where they go through their catalog and then Jonathan comes out with the bagpipes.
Did he come out this time with
Yeah,
bagpipes?
yeah. I just remember. So when that happened, it was piercing. And the other two times we've seen Korn was at open air, so it's out in an outdoor arena or outdoor stadium. But seeing them in an arena, I just thought it was piercing. You don't remember that?
I had earplugs in.
Oh, you did?
So
Yeah.
it sounded fine for me.
I don't wear earplugs when we see shows, but it was like such a piercing sound. And I do remember I had to use the restroom, and that was during.
Y'all want to sing? Say fuck
Yeah.
that.
I was trying to think of. I was like singing it in my head, but I couldn't think of the title. Yeah, so that was kind of disappointing that I chose that moment because I do like that song. But yeah, what were your thoughts?
So, and I think we can talk about this in a different show, but I think I always, and we've mentioned this too, like talking about seeing bands multiple times. This is our third time seeing Korn. First time as their own tour. And when, how do I say this? The touring aspect of music is very interesting to me in the sense of when a new album comes out, you go on tour to promote that album. And you're going to hear a lot of the songs from that album. That might be the only time you ever hear those songs live is when they're out there promoting that new album to sell that album. And then a new album comes out, and the main songs usually stick with the tour, or they get shuffled around every now and then they pop up, or never again, like Say in Anger, for instance, with Metallica. And Korn just had a new album come out just a few months before this. And that new album is pretty soft, I think. Like, it's not crazy heavy. It's a different kind of sound. Not a bad sound, just not something that I have to listen to a lot.
Right, I would agree. Like, it's not like their early sounding stuff. And I think we listened to it once we bought it, and then I don't think we've listened to it since.
We haven't yet, no. And I feel like the tour took on that same sort of vibe as that album. It definitely did not seem as heavy and as hard as I remember seeing Korn the previous times.
I would agree. And I mean, that could have been because Evanescence was with them, and that's more lighter.
Yes.
Versus seeing them at open air where it's like a lot of heavy bands.
Yes, but at the same time, like I remember when Evanescence was on, they're like, give it up for Jared, the normal, give it up for this band, give it up for the headliner. And one of the things they're like, we've been on a lot of tours with Korn in the past because they both sort of came up in those early 2000s.
Right.
So, I mean, way back then, they were definitely a lot heavier. So I don't know how you would make it soft with Evanescence. I think it's a good, soft hard. We talked about this before, I think, where like a set list for a show, how you have to like weave in the slower parts on top of the heavy stuff. So I think that'd be really cool. I think that's a really cool concept of having a softer band or, and then come out with really, really hard, heavy band type thing. So I could see that, but I mean, I honestly, I think it was the album and just where Korn is in their lives.
Yeah, maybe.
That they're like, we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna chill out. We don't need to be as hard as we were when we were, 20.
Yeah, I'm looking at the set list, and maybe this is also part of it. Is Korn isn't a go-to. Like, there's like 5 songs that I go to if I want to listen to Korn, but the songs that I remember or like that I will listen to or like are on other playlists for me are like Here to Stay, Falling Away From Me, Alone I Break, Y'all Want a Single, and then probably Twist and then Freak Out Unleash. So there's a lot of songs that they played because they played for a long time.
They did, yeah.
Probably almost 2 hours. That I don't even know the music, or I don't recognize the song. Not that I have never heard it because I probably have heard it. Just it's not a go-to.
Right.
So that's another thing that I've really noticed going into bands or like seeing concerts is if I don't know the music, I have a different vibe than if it's something that I listen to or really enjoy or really into. And maybe that was part of it is, like you were saying, like the last album we weren't really into. And they played
Quite a few songs from that, I thought.
2 songs.
Just 2?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But then they have, I don't know what this album is. I guess these are earlier ones, like Shoots and Ladders. I know that song.
Yeah.
I like that song. I really, 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 really like. Just because it's fun. It's like going back to your like nursery rhymes or whatever.
I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't hard, heavy songs in there. The vibe, just in general, felt soft to me.
Yeah. Do you think it possibly was where we were standing? Because we stood near the back.
So you mentioned that with 3 Days Grace, that we stood to the back and saw a lot of people dancing. I did notice that too in where we were standing for this.
Yeah.
Is there were a lot of people dancing around us during this as well.
Yeah.
We weren't in the crowd in the thick of things like we normally are.
Right. So both 3 Days Grace and then this entire concert, we weren't in Wage War. We were like in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah.
But then for 3 Days Grace, the previous night, and then this entire concert, we kind of stood back a ways, not like all the way in the back, but
I mean, I agree. I do think that plays some aspect in terms of the vibe of the concert. You can, which is once
you
again,
feel the energy of the other.
Right. The other people, the other crowd is energizing you. You're energizing them. The band's energizing you. You're energizing the band. Like it's a giant fucking circle.
Right.
But I've never thought of it that way where you are at any show can dictate the vibe of the show as well. Yeah. Like if you're up front on the rail, that's a different feeling than being in a seat versus being in the mid of in the floor, or even like the nosebleed section. Like
100%. Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way, but that very well could be why it felt soft to me.
Like I always feel the most energy when we're in like the middle, or like almost the middle of the crowd.
And if like a pit opens next to you, like that offers a lot more energy. And there was a pit not far from us, but it was also a pit on an open area of the floor.
Right. It was a weird pit.
Yeah, it wasn't a pit in the middle of a crowd.
Yeah.
Because that's going to bump you around, move you around, get you moving.
Right. Like, we had lots of space around. Well, I'm saying lots of space. We had more space than if you're in the middle of the crowd. So I think that plays a lot into it, is that we were not in the middle, where maybe we would have felt that energy a little bit more if we were in the middle of the crowd.
For sure.
Because, like, I've never seen a Slipknot concert where we're not in the middle of the crowd, but I guess Riot Fest kind of.
No, we were on the rail on the side.
Yeah, but I still felt energy from that.
I'm saying we were pretty close.
Yeah, we were pretty close, yeah.
The only one is Line Fest. We were
We were further back, but we were still in the crowd.
That's because there were so many goddamn people.
Yeah. I mean, when you get 30,000 people in a
tiny-ass field.
Yeah.
I mean, we were very far back for that, but we were.
But you still felt the energy of everybody around you, everybody enjoying it.
Yeah, and that's a different beast in and of itself, though, I think.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think a good example would be Riot Fest for Slayer. We were very far back for Slayer, and there was no fucking energy back there.
Right, yeah.
All 100%. The energy was super close up.
Yeah, that's a good example, yeah. I was trying to think of, like, a concert. Normally we are in the middle, so I was trying to think of a concert where, like, it would feel different. Like, go back to the Slipknot example. If we ever went to a Slipknot concert and kind of stood back away from, like, the pits or away from the energy and stuff, it would probably feel different.
That's true. 100%.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to go to a Slipknot concert and not be in the crowd.
Right.
But, it would be totally different. Or, like, if we bought seat tickets to a Slipknot concert, that would be 100% different than down in the middle, like, close to the stage. So I think that could go into this concert with Korn, where we just didn't feel the energy because we didn't place ourselves in that position.
That's fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Because, Yeah.
I saw some people like having the energy that I think you're talking about during a lot of these songs.
Yeah, no, agreed. There were a lot of people moving around us having a good time. And it's just like, I think that's what the issue was. Not necessarily that the concert itself was soft. I think that's a good,
right.
a good point.
I mean, Evanescence was soft. There's still people enjoying it, but when you get to Korn, I do maybe just because we only listen to the heavier Korn songs. Maybe that's part of it, and there was a lot that's not as heavy, but I mean, I saw a lot of people having the energy that I think you're talking about. So
Yeah, no,
yeah, that's probably on us.
I'll retract my statement. I think that's what it was.
No, yeah, no, you don't have to retract.
No,
I
no,
think we
it's
just
fine.
talked through why
Yeah,
it felt that way.
that was cool.
So, but yeah, any other thoughts on Korn? I mean,
The only other thing I remember is we left. I think the encore just got over, and we decided to leave. And they were doing their like goodbye, thanks for coming out kind of stuff, and we're like, all right, we're gonna head out. We're tired. We went to
were
a show the
tired.
night before.
Yeah.
Denver, like we're not in the greatest shape, so like walking around Denver and not being able to breathe as well wasn't good. So and like
And it was just a quick trip.
it was,
Like
yeah.
we flew in on Sunday,
We had a lot going on the week before.
worked 2 days. I mean, worked both Monday and Tuesday. Went to a concert Thursday, or sorry, went to a concert on 3 Days Grace on Monday. Went to this concert on Tuesday. Had to fly home the next day.
Yeah, we were just beat.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we're going. But
Yeah.
I remember as we're walking up and getting to the concourse, somebody came out. I don't know who it was. They're like, hey, we have a birthday in the house.
Oh, right.
And like, I think a member of the band, it was their birthday. And I was like, I kind of want to stay and watch this and experience this. But at the same time, I kind of want to go to bed.
Like you never said that you wanted to stay and watch it.
No, because I wanted to go to bed.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we did that. But that was really it for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I think I would. Oh, so this is probably on us again. I think I would have enjoyed it more if we didn't go to Wage War and 3 Days Grace the day before, because I had a lot of fun at Wage War and 3 Days Grace, and then going to Korn. I didn't care for Jairus Johnson, Evanescence. I'm not really into, and then,
Sorry, playing with my mic.
yeah, you are. It's distracting me. But I didn't enjoy it as much as probably if this was the only concert we saw.
That's fair.
I mean,
yeah.
nothing against the concert. It was a great concert, but I mean, I think seeing Wage War the day before just kind of set the bar for me. And also Mission Ballroom was just such a great venue.
Yeah, it was.
And then going to Ball Arena, it's just a normal arena that's there to. I mean, it serves its purpose, but
Yeah.
it wasn't unique in any ways.
I mean, I am glad we went here instead of Tinley Park.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because then we wouldn't have gone to 3 Days Grace.
Yes.
So, I mean,
And also, if we would, I think I told you this, if I would have found out that Wage War was in Denver the day that we weren't and we just sat on the couch and watched TV,
that's true, yeah.
I think I would have been so pissed.
Yeah.
Pissed at myself that I didn't even check. So,
I mean, yeah, no, I agree with all that.
yeah. But, I mean, from the short 3 days that we were in Denver, well, 2.5 days that we were in Denver, I think it turned out excellent.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, even though we were working, it was like a working vacation. Being able to see 2 concerts in 2 days for the 2 days that we were there, it was a lot of fun. It's what we want to do, and I think we made it work out really well.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, all in all, the week was a lot of laser music, like a lot of the radio metal, the radio rock that, we listened to growing up, and it's fine music. It's good to see live. It's great to support the bands. I'll do it again, 100%. But at the same time, I want something heavier.
Yeah, I think we just changed our music taste, especially over the last few years.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess you've always been into like heavier stuff.
Yeah,
but I really
definitely.
changed my taste because like 3 Days Grace is the sound that I started with.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was Disturbed, but the 3 Days Grace sound is like the songs that I really got into, which is probably why I know like almost every 3 Days Grace song. And then Korn, like I said, like I listened to like 5 songs, so it is one of those that
And
could have been part of it as well.
And Korn's another one of those Laser bands. They got played heavy on Laser
Oh,
also,
100%, yeah.
which is weird. Like of all the new metal, that Korn was played more than a lot of things. Like growing up in Iowa, Korn was played a hell of a lot more than Slipknot from Iowa. It's like, why not support the hometown boys here?
Right.
But you only got Slipknot because it was heavier at like super late at night.
Or you got like Vermilion.
Right, you got like one track,
Yeah.
maybe Duality. Like,
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. I just remember Vermilion being
oh really?
played. Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
the one song that I remember playing.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that type of music, and there's nothing wrong with playing it on the radio at all. Like that's how we got into this kind of music and how we consumed the vast majority of the music. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's not always what you want, and you want to move on to the next thing. But all in all, the whole trip was a blast. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back to Denver. Probably to see another concert there.
Yeah, Denver's great. I think we're going back still this year.
Oh, you
right?
are? Oh my gosh, I totally forgot.
In just a couple months in December.
Yeah.
Or not too. I don't know when we're going.
Yeah, it's
in
December.
December, but I don't know how far
Yeah.
off that is.
Yeah.
And that will be a hell of a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Because
that's like, what's? Go ahead. What's the?
I think Cannonball Corpse is, or is it Cold Orange?
No, Cannibal Corpse and Pig Destroyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, at the Beer and Music Festival.
Yeah, so it's more like
beer and metal.
like death metal.
Yeah.
Focused.
On top of like a beer festival, and I've been to beer festivals and I get fucking shit faced at those. So I am scared of this thing.
You'll be okay.
I'm gonna drink amazing beers, listen to awesome music, amazing music, and 2 days of that, and it's gonna be another one of those quick trips. And I felt bad or sluggish during this. It's gonna suck.
Are we working during that trip?
I probably shouldn't. I
Yeah,
don't know. We'll see.
We'll have to see how it goes, but
All in all, Denver's great. These two shows were fucking awesome.
yeah, I love how we made how the 2 days just came together, where it was. I mean, we were planning things. I mean, the two things that we wanted to do is Kuma's and Mile High Distillery, or Mile High Spirits, but I think we made a great choice with 3 Days Grace and Wage War, and then seeing Korn the next day.
100% agreed. All right,
Awesome.
so we've never actually done like an outro, so let's fucking try it. Like, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye.